Hey, Claudia did a great job.
Awesome. I'm just getting.
Yeah, it was good because it was elementary focused, and she gave a lot of strategies and tools, how to use them in Canvas. I had there was like 20 people in the session, so it was the biggest session for the first session. It was really good. I'm going like, yeah.
I came and peeked into all the sessions to see how they were going.
Yeah, I just liked all the different ways that she was showing them, like different tools and different strategies, how to engage the younger kids. So it was good.
Cool. I'll be on in a second.
You're fine.
Wrangling the people in my house to go
All
upstairs.
right.
Quiet.
Okay, just gonna time. So as people are coming in, I just type in there, welcome everybody. As you're coming in, we'll start about 10:35.
Okay, that works. That works. I'll turn my camera on in a moment.
So, hi, everybody. I know that people are just joining in and from other sessions. We're going to be starting about 10:35. So go take a break, walk around, stand up, stretch, get something to drink, whatever you need to do. We'll be starting here in about 5 minutes.
Hi, everyone. We'll get started in just a few moments. So if you still need to stretch, do whatever, we have a couple more minutes.
Let's see. Okay, everybody, this is Kathy. I'm with the Nevada Department of Education. I'm moderating for Melanie. I know that we still have Melanie. We have one of the sessions is going over a little bit. We're trying to get them moving on. It's one of the Canvas sessions from the other one. We'll just wait a couple more minutes. But I'm just want to say, hey, everybody, welcome to the this summit or conference. It's we are excited to have you here, and I am like very excited to introduce to you Melanie Baker, because her and I work a lot together, and she is awesome. And she is works with Instructure and specifically Canvas, and she is going to present to you today Canvas Studio, something that everybody in the state of Nevada has access to. And we really need you guys to use it. So it's a wonderful tool, and I'm excited to have her get started and go over Canvas Studio with you. So Melanie, if you're ready to go, then, oh, also before Melanie starts, at the end, it's really important you don't leave this session. If you're going to leave and go somewhere else, do it now. But once you're here, you probably shouldn't jump around, because at the end of this session, I'm going to be giving out 2 surveys for the Nevada Department of Education. One is like a session survey, and the other one is the attendance link. So you must fill those out to get credit for attending this conference. If you do not, then you won't get a certificate. And then Melanie is also going to give you a survey from Instructure for her. It's yours, Melanie. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a disclaimer before we get started. I have several children in my house today. So if you hear little voices in the background, just know that they are ever present, as much as I told them to disappear for the next hour. So I will try to speak loudly and try to keep it entertaining. I see someone in here that I recognize, Trevor, I don't know if you're on camera. No, Trevor's camera's not on. But before I get started, I'm going to, well, Kathy, if you can stick the copy of the presentation in the chat. This is a 4th copy of the presentation, so you can have like all the nuts and bolts and details. Hi, Nate. Of the presentation. For those of you who have not come across me before, I am actually the principal learning, struggling to get my words out, principal learning consultant for the state of Nevada. So I work with Kathy, the LEAs, the higher up people to help implement Canvas. But I have come across quite a few teachers, particularly in CCSD and Churchill and a couple of other districts, through a program we had called Panda Pros, which we still run. So if you've heard of it, it's still out there, and you can use it. You can just email me if you don't know how to get a scheduling link for that as well. I am on social media. This is my Twitter exchange, which is on the presentation as well. And just so some of you have just a little background about me, I have been using Canvas since 2014. I worked in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools in North Carolina. So I've been using Canvas a little bit over 8 years. I was a district trainer for Canvas, a Canvas admin, state and I work with the state as well. And at Canvas, I am a principal learning consultant where I help everyone with the nuts and bolts of Canvas, from how to build a page to helping Canvas admins. So since this is a small group, I don't mind if you chime in and put questions in the chat, or if you unmute and ask a question and during the presentation. So that's fine by me. Kathy will kind of man the chat. I am going to turn off my camera during the presentation. Just so some of you also know, I don't really go by the slide deck. It's there as a resource for you. I'm actually going to open up Canvas Studio and kind of walk you through it. I feel like that's a more valuable tool than going slide by slide, but you can use it as a reference as we go through. So any questions? No questions? Cool. All right, let's get started. So this is our agenda. We're going to go through the basics. What is Studio? Why you should use Studio. Studio is amazing. It is my favorite tool in Canvas. I think Kathy is a huge fan of it as well. Probably Nate. If you have ever used EdPuzzle, if you have ever used, what is the screen recording tool that we talked about, Kathy? Is it Screencastify that everyone uses? So it's like a mix of EdPuzzle and Screencastify together in one place. Is that right, Kathy?
I can't remember which one it is.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's something like Screencastify. The other thing too is, since you guys all used Infinite Campus, it is tied directly to your gradebook. So any quizzes or anything that's graded using Studio will be able to automatically sync with your gradebook. So if you're middle, high, elementary, it doesn't really matter what grade level. This kind of works for everyone. You modify it to how you need to use it. But I'll show you a couple of tricks and give you some suggestions. And there are some in the slide deck as well. And I'll show you how to create like a sample assignment. It's really cool. So I am going to close out the slide deck. Move this out of the way. And I am going to bring up a sample course that I thought I had up, but we'll bring it up right here. Move this out of the way. All right, so Canvas Studio. So for those of you, how many of you, just by like the little thumbs up emoji, have heard of Studio or have come in contact with Studio, even have any idea what I'm talking about? Okay, so I see a couple of hands. Okay, so the quick and easy of it is, in your global navigation, you have all of these tools in your global navigation that are accessible for all of your courses. So you may have heard this in some of the other sessions. The items that you see on the internal part of the class, of your course, these are things that apply to just that class. But anything that's in the colored bar are global tools. So they can be used with any course that you teach. And the reason I mention that is because Studio is one of the tools that you can build resources for multiple courses and house them in Studio. And when you go in your individual course, you can pull out whatever video you want. So if you're someone who likes to collect videos on different topics, you have that capacity in Studio to store them and to organize them in a way that you see fit. Does that make sense for everybody? A couple of reasons why you should use Studio. If you are a big YouTube person, I love YouTube. I go to YouTube for everything, everything. Home improvement to language. I use YouTube for everything. You can also create asynchronous learning with your students. So days when you're out, you can create substitute modules where you can give your students instructions of what to do prior to you being out. You can record yourself. Student submissions. And the biggest piece that I like are the analytics. If you're a numbers person and you want to see if your students watch the video, how much of the video did they watch? Did they just click it and go? You actually have the capacity to do that with analytics. So I'll kind of show you where that is. You also have the ability to put captions on your video. So for your students who may not pick up on what is being said right away, you can turn captions on for them in Studio. So that's the overview of what Studio is. So when you click on the navigation bar, Studio, it'll look like the little YouTube screen with the little things coming out of it. When you get in, it's a pretty basic screen in Canvas, but there's a lot of information here. So I'll kind of go through what some of those tools are. Here, this is just your basic layout. This is where all of your videos will lie. So anything that you pull in, whether you create it or whether you pull it from YouTube or Vimeo, you can pull in Vimeo videos as well, but I prefer YouTube videos because they're filtered a little bit more. If you're using Google, they'll filter them if you're under an education account. So just keep that in mind. Vimeo videos are not always filtered. And so if you pull them in, you might want to watch it like all the way to the end. But in the upper right-hand corner, this is like the meat of what you do with Studio. You have a record feature, and this is where you can actually record videos of yourself. So I tell teachers if you want to do announcements or if you want to give your students instructions, if you're a language teacher and you want students to see how you enunciate your words, or for the little ones, they like to see their teacher even if their teacher is out. Having a video played for them is great. Or I know of elementary teachers who read books or read excerpts on camera for their students so that they can follow along. That is what the screen record. So you have two options of recording. The screen record, I think mine may spin for a little bit because I have some other stuff going on in the background, but the screen recorder, what it will do is it will turn on the camera on your device and it'll ask you to allow, the microphone and the video, and it will record whatever's on your screen. And so that's the easy part of it. And it stores in your Canvas account. There's no space limitations. So you can record, delete, all of that right within Canvas. The webcam features, now all of you are about to see me in my natural state here in just a moment, but the webcam comes on and I always tell everyone kind of fix yourself up, fix your background up, put a green screen if possible, but you have the capacity to check your mic, check your webcam, and you can start recording. Got 3 seconds, and then it starts to record. Once you finish your video, of course, you hit finish. You can give it a title. We're gonna call it Melanie. I spelled my own name wrong, but that's okay. And hit Save Media. And it immediately loads into your Canvas account. Your other feature is YouTube. As I was saying before, you can use YouTube or Vimeo. If you have used EdPuzzle, this is like a better version of EdPuzzle. I think it's way better. You can pull in any YouTube link that you want, and it's instantaneous pull-in. So I have actually already pulled in this elementary video called Fractions for Kids. I pulled this in from YouTube earlier, and we'll kind of get into the nuts and bolts of how you use this video in Studio. The other thing is, if you are extremely organized, this is a great place for people who like to organize their videos. Collection. A collection is basically, in Studio terms, a folder. So if you are someone, particularly like, I'll say high school, and you want to organize your strands. So if you're doing history, if you're teaching history and you want to maybe do videos by the period or by years, or if you're math and you want to do fractions, decimals, you can create collections. They're basically folders, and house your videos in each individual folder so that your materials are a little more organized and you don't have to figure out where certain videos are. Or if you want to organize it by unit. I know elementary tends to go by weeks or by units, so you can organize it that way. Are the collections available? Yes, they are. So any videos, so if you teach, this is bigger in high school, elementary and high school. In high school, you know, you might teach pre-calculus and you might teach calculus. You can separate, have two separate folders. You can actually have a collection within a collection. So if you made a collection and then inside of that, you want it to have like a sub collection, you can do that. Is there a time limit to videos? There's not a time limit, but I just know from my 12 years of teaching that students tend to tap out at about 3 minutes, if that much. So if you go beyond 3 minutes, just know that they may not watch the video all the way. But there's a quiz feature in here that I think is valuable, and it'll kind of gauge how long you should make your video. So I'll show you that as well. But this video is 8 minutes. I would never give my students an 8-minute video unless it was something that I gave them while I was out, say it was sub work, and you know, and I put little questions throughout it, and I'll show you how to do that part. So is everyone good so far on understanding what collections are? And they're basically folders in Canvas. Great. All right, so whenever you pull a video in, you also have the capacity, you know, to order them how you want, by name or by date added. You can view everything. You can just view your collection. So if you just wanted to see your folders, you could do that. Or if you just want to see all of your videos at once, it just depends on how you work. But you can do several things with your videos. If you've used Canvas before, does everyone recognize what that little symbol is right there? That little rocket thing? Does everyone know what that stands for? That little rocket is Canvas's way of recognizing a quiz. So whenever you create a quiz in Canvas, you probably see the little symbol, it's a rocket. Well, in Studio, you can use your videos for two purposes. You can use them just as a video to maybe have your students watch, or you can take that same video and you can turn it into a quiz that they can use. And I'll show you some cool features because we all have students who love to zoom to the end of the video and not actually watch it. Well, there's a way that you can hide your questions so that they are forced to watch the video, because otherwise they won't know where the questions are. So they have to watch it whether they want to or not. But if you click on the 3 dots, you have several features that are in Canvas. So you have the capacity to share your video with your coworkers. So if you wanted to share it with other people that you work with, so if you made a really cool studio video, you can share it with them. You can also provide them, you can provide a public link. So if you have, for instance, a wiki page or a website and you want parents to be able to watch the video that their students see, for whatever reason you want to post it publicly, you do have that ability to do that as well. And you also have the ability to let people edit your video. So if you're on a team, so this is great if you're on a team of teachers, someone may pull the video, someone may edit the video, and someone may go back in and, you know, add some annotations or something. So you do have the ability to do that. The other feature is you can move the video. So if you want to move it from collection to collection, you can do that as well. You can actually just move it and choose whatever new collection you want. Say you just put it in the wrong spot, you can move it easily and virtually. And it does not affect how it's used in your courses. Someone asked me that before. If I move it around in Studio and the Studio layout doesn't move in my course, it doesn't move in the course. This is just more of an organizational feature that is inside of Studio. But you also have the annotation feature. I've not played with this as much as I would like, but what I do know is it works best on mobile devices. So if you teach with iPads, this is a great tool. There's the edit feature. Let's see if I can move this. You have the ability, I'm on a desktop, so it wouldn't work for me, but if you're on a mobile device, you'll see the little, there's an edit feature where you can annotate on video. So as the video is playing, if you're one of those teachers who likes to put check marks and circle things and do that during the video, you do have the capacity to do that as well. Are there any elementary teachers in here, by the way? No elementary teachers? Okay. And then the most popular feature, of course, is the quiz feature. The quiz feature, I love it because, again, this is tied directly to Infinite Campus. So if you give 20 questions during this 8-minute video, each question will be worth 5 points. It automatically calculates your points for you. If you give 4 questions, there'll be 25 points each. So, but also, again, this again is 8 minutes. You could always shorten the video. You can take whatever portion of the video that you want. I just tend to find short videos on YouTube without having to worry about editing. But in the studio world, of course, you want to always name your videos. Naming convention is extremely important to me. I feel like the video should have an exact name. The quiz should be named what the video is in most instances. But don't name your quizzes like your videos like Studio Quiz 1, Studio Quiz 2. You will hate yourself at the end of the school year when you have to figure out what that quiz is. So you want to always make sure that your naming convention is tied to your unit some way or tied to the actual video. You can also give a description. A lot of these videos, they have descriptions on them, but you can add your own description if you want to do that yourself. This is the kicker for a lot of students. You can hide the question marker so that students do not know where the question is. If they see the question, they're not going to watch the video. So if you are concerned about, I taught middle school and they try to do the least amount of work in the most time. I don't know how that's possible, but if I can do 2 questions in 1 hour, they can do it. I don't know how, but they just figure it out. Someone's clapping. Yes. So hide your questions because they will skip them. You can also display annotations. Again, that's if you're dealing with little ones. I think little ones tend to like this more, or your students with disabilities, or your students who need a visual for any reason. You can turn that on. But I would always say hide the question because they're not gonna read it. And to add questions is very simple. So as an instructor, you want to always make sure that you do watch the video all the way through before you start putting questions in. So when you get your video, if you've watched it a few times and you kind of know where you want to put your questions in, this video in particular, it has questions built in already. So how I would use this one in a classroom is before they actually go over the question, I would put my question in first, get the class to answer it, and then the video is going to play and actually they can see if they got it right or wrong within the classroom. But the studio framework as far as questions is very simple right now. They just have multiple choice, true, false, and if you're brave, you can dabble in this world of multiple answer. But if you have middle schoolers, they're going to choose everything. So just to see if they can get it right. So I tend to stick to multiple choice or true, false when I use studio videos. So you would find in the video where you want
Cindy has a pizza,
to put the video, and you'll see a little plus sign. I'm not going to go that far in. We're going to go in like 3 seconds. and I'll choose the multiple choice question. So again, you would put your questions in. I'm going to go, what is 1 + 1? That should be simple for most students. You will choose your correct answer. And you also have the option of choosing multiple answers. I mean, putting in multiple answer choices. Also, you can vary the points by answer. This is great for high school. So in high school, we give points based on how much of the question you complete correctly. For instance, in your multi-step problems, you could use this where they may have gotten up to a certain point, gotten it correct, but then they got the rest of the problem wrong. You could put that answer on there and still give them partial credit for that problem. So you could choose, you know, this one is close enough. If you want to give them 1 point and give them 3 points for the correct answer. So they're not losing all the way out, similar to how the SAT does or standardized tests. They give them tiered points. You can also shuffle choices. Middle schoolers in particular have eyes on the front, side, back of their head. You know, they have eyes everywhere. They have eyes on Google Docs as well. So, you know, students tend to share, collaborate, as they call it. So you have that capacity to shuffle your choices as well. If you love giving feedback, you can do that per question. So if you want to tell them great job, maybe next time, or give them an explanation for why their answer was incorrect, or you can provide general feedback. You could just maybe give a comment about this type of problem or where this problem is valuable. So the general feedback is whether they got it right or wrong. You have that discretion as the teacher. So I'm going to hit save, and you'll see the little marker. So that lets you know where the question is. And I'll add in another question here. Let's add a true false. Apples are orange. And again, you still have that feedback as well. This is something else you probably won't hear too many people talk about. If you create a quiz, even in studio or in regular quizzes, and you put an incorrect answer in there, and the students, for instance, tell you, normally in the traditional classroom, right, we would have to collect all the tests and go back and regrade and rescore. In Canvas, when you do that, if you find a incorrect answer, it can go back and rescore everyone. So you do have the capacity to do that. So don't panic if you put in a wrong answer. It can regrade. The system allows you to regrade the students automatically when you update an answer. It'll ask you, do you want to update all of the students? Or you can manually go in and update the grade. But that's just something to keep in mind when you use it. So once you've gotten all your questions in, you can hit done, and you will see the little rocket. Does everyone see the little rocket there? You'll see the little rocket to let you know that that is a video and it is a quiz in your course. And so you can build these at any time. I'm a pre-builder. I love to build things in advance. So maybe at the top of a quarter, I would probably go in and do tons of videos for like my first strand in a course. So that is basically how you make your studio videos. Next on the agenda, I think I had in there, well, how do you add these to a course? So I am going to go back to my course, my physical science course here. You have several ways to add. I'm just going to add, this isn't a trick question for anybody, but can somebody tell me, when you are building in a course, where should you build from? Like, where in Canvas should you start building? Does anybody know? You can come off mute or you can put it in the chat, but where should you always? Yes, you can make it an assignment instead of a quiz. I'm actually going to show you that. Yes, who said modules? How do you say your name? Is it Sini? I know I'm saying it wrong.
No, you're right. It's Sini. Mm-hmm.
Yes, modules. Does anybody know why you build from modules? And I stress this, like this is like the one thing that drives me crazy when I look in courses. Does anyone know why you build in modules?
I feel like it's easier if you build in modules so you know where it's at versus if you build it in assignments, it can get lost.
There you go. If you build in modules, if it's a page, it will automatically show up on pages. If it's a quiz, it will automatically go to quizzes by default. So always build from modules because that's where you're organizing your life. If you go over to pages and you build 20 pages, you have to now come back to modules and pull those pages in. So you want to build where it's easy. You want to build actually in your course. So to add studio to videos to your courses, you have several different options, but I'll show you guys the two most popular options. So if you have a module, this is just a sample module, you can build it as an external tool. So the plus sign, let me go back to that. Up here in your module, there's a plus sign, and in the drop down for your resources, there is an external tool. So external tools are great. For instance, if you have just a video, say you want students to watch, you're not tying it to any particular assignment. It's just a video that you want students to look at as a reference, maybe like pre-work for a unit. You can say, hey, you guys, our morning warm up, go and watch this video. You would go in, choose Canvas Studio, and the first thing it does is it looks at your library. And it shows, oh, let me go back out. Okay, so you would choose Canvas Studio. It can see all of the videos that are in your Canvas account. You can view it by, of course, by your collections, or you can view all. And you remember this video, it was a quiz. If you choose it, it gives you two options. If you just want it to be a standard video, you don't want to do anything else with it, you would choose standard embed. So that's just the video. And media tabs, I'm going to turn this on because this is where you can see your analytics. You can see who watched the video, how long they watched the video, when they watched the video, you can see that. If you wanted to have the students say, take a pre-work quiz, you could choose the quiz version of it. So that video has two purposes. So I'm going to just choose the fraction. I'm going to choose the standard embed first. And you would click embed and hit add item. And at the bottom of my module, does everyone see that Canvas Studio video? It goes in as an external tool. Now, the thing to know about this is right now, the green check, for those of you who don't know, it means that the students can see it. The little circle, I don't know what that symbol is called, like a stop sign, it means that it's not published. So you want to make sure that you publish it so that they can actually see it. And when they click on it, it will go right to the video. So it'll live right on that page. So this is good if you want to just have them watch the video. But if you wanted to have this video, like someone asked, can this be an assignment? Yes, so it can be an announcement. You can put that video in an announcement. You can put it in a page, a discussion, or an assignment. So if you wanted to create it as an assignment, you would do the same thing. From your module, you would go to assignments. And of course, Canvas sees all of your assignments, but you can create a new assignment. You would give it a name. We're just going to call this one Canvas assignment. And we're going to hit add item. So now we will go open that assignment up. And you will hit edit. And so now everyone knows what this is called. This is your Rce Editor. This is basically like Word inside of Canvas. You can edit and give your instructions here. This is where you give your instructions, what you want the students to do with the video. Oh my gosh, having a struggle today. And you would put all of your instructions in here. Your assignment has a name, but as an assignment, does everyone see the plug? This little plug is how you access your media tools. So you can pull your Canvas Studio videos. If you had anything in Google, you can pull that in here. You can go in and grab you can go to YouTube as well, but we're gonna go and grab Canvas Studio. And it goes back to that same place, right? So it goes back to your videos. And I am going to choose my fractions for kids videos. But again, I am not going to make it a quiz, right? I'm going to just bring it in as a video. And it will embed the video for you as a teacher. You can give them points for watching the video if you want. You can create a submission. So if you want to have them watch the video and maybe write a summary, or if you're using Google LTI where you have a document that has questions on it already and you want to give them a copy of it, then you could do that as well. So you can have them watch the video as they're using the Google Doc. So your Google Drive cloud assignments, you can attach that to a video. So a document of questions. So you can also pull your assignment in as well, your questions in. What's the difference between the plug and the Google? There is no difference. There is no difference. One thing you'll find in Canvas is that you can get to the same thing about 20 different ways. Over time you learn they're everywhere. They repeat everything everywhere. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. So because I'm used to using the LTI feature. So is it like the plug is just like in the box then? Is that what it is?
Yeah, the plug is right here. It's in the rich content editor up there. So it's there, yeah. So you can pull in that Google assignment. You can, how you create your regular assignments. If you want to give them multiple attempts, if you want to go ahead and put a due date on it. So you would go ahead and finish creating your assignment the exact same way that you would normally. The only difference is you brought in a video that could potentially have been custom. So if you made a custom video, that's where the studio videos come in. And then you would go ahead and hit save. Now, let's turn this off. So we're just gonna have no submission for now. When you save the video, one of the things that you can see as the instructor, which I like, are the things here in the media bar. So again, I was mentioning earlier, if you don't like the description that they gave, I can guarantee you that students probably read the first line. They're tapped out. You can actually edit that and you can put your own description in there for your students. You have the capacity to let them comment. So if this is one of those assignments where you wanted to get student feedback about the video, you could have them maybe respond to something in the video, talk about the video, and you can give them credit for that. Insights is where you can see, we don't have any insights because no one's watched this video, but if your students were in the class, you could see all of their names. You could see how much of the video that they watched. So if they're, Speedy Gonzalez, if Erica is here one moment and then Erica is over there, there's a good chance that Erica just kind of zoomed through the video. But you can see where the students watch the video. And as well as in regular analytics, you can actually go in deeper and see if they actually watch the video.
Hey, Melanie, I have a question about that one.
Yes.
You know how you can will it show the section of the video they watched?
Yes.
Or time? Because like on YouTube videos, sometimes I'll set them for double speed or whatever. And so what is the data that it gives you? Is it time or space, I guess?
For instance, if they start watching the video and they stop, it will show you where they stopped. If they come back and they watch the video, through completion, like the bar shows if they watch the whole video or if they skip. So if they skip the video, you'll see their name at 0, but then you'll see their name at the end, but there won't be any time because they didn't actually watch the video. But if they watched 3 minutes of it, you'll see that they watched 3 minutes. Does grabbing your YouTube video from the saved location stop students from getting into YouTube? Hope and notice that, and they continue doing more videos, the ones that show up after the videos. No, they cannot. So I had to read through that. So, you know, they're continuing to watch videos after. No, this video is living in Canvas. So if you have, for instance, like an external monitoring device like GoGuardian or Dino, you can see if they leave. But this isn't a segue to YouTube. This is video. Yeah.
Yeah, because usually I just go, you know, to YouTube and they give you the embed code. But when I do embed code and it nicely puts it in there, they still get that ending part where I think they can actually click on other videos. And will this stop that?
Yes. So
Okay,
well, let me see. I don't think I published that one. Let me go back to that. No, they only see what you give them, which is a plus. So if this were in student view, they only see the video. That's all they see. That's all they see. And there are several tools in the background of Canvas where when you add videos, you know, you can make it pop out. I always tell teachers embed everything in the course because now they can't leave. Because once you let them leave, they're gone. You know, they're wherever. I mean, they're in school, but they're not in your class on your computer. They're somewhere, just not where you want them to be. So embedding is your friend. The other great thing about if you use a studio quiz, does everyone see that speed grader button? I'm not going to go heavily into speed grader, but if this assignment where students had to watch a video and give some feedback, you would be able to see their video. And if they gave the feedback and the instructions that you told them, you could give them points and you could also give them a comment. So you could say great comment or maybe explain more. So you can give feedback on an assignment that has a Canvas Studio video inside of it. You can give feedback on anything in Canvas, honestly, anything that is graded. But that's a cool feature that you can give feedback on. Is anybody confused about what speed grader is? If so, I can tell you you can learn about it later. But so that's how you would add it into an assignment. If you just wanted this to be a studio quiz, of course, you could go back to your module. We'll go here. And you would just use it as an external tool. And it would come out the same exact way. You could use it that way. I haven't given feedback, but never heard from students as to whether they read it or not. Well, Norma, there's a good chance they didn't read it. But just know that that is one of those features where on our Canvas learning community that we have this little thing called ideas where you can suggest that, where you could say, hey, how can I know if my students read it? Because right now, when you go to SpeedGrader for any assignment, you really don't know if the student read the comment. You can ask them to respond, or you can ask them to say, let me know if you agree or disagree with your feedback or something like that. But most of the time, you don't know if they read it. You have to throw a question out there to get them to respond. But most students, I live with a high schooler who uses Canvas, and I watch him on his phone, like flick through the comments. So I'm guessing he's reading it, but if he's already gotten the grade, I don't know if he necessarily reads the comments. And that's not to say that your comments are not important, but you generally don't know. But you know, you could always ask them some kind of a probing question to get them back to answering your question. This is something that's not covered in here, but we do have rubrics. So if you have, for instance, with Studio, if you have your students make their own videos, you could attach a rubric to it. So they can submit videos as well. When you create assignments, you have the capacity to allow students to use Studio because they have that ability as well. So if they're on Chromebooks, let me go back down here. I meant to go on modules. If they're on Chromebooks and you want them to, say in Spanish, want them to read a passage, or if you want them in math to walk through an assignment and give their feedback on it, let's give it a name. I'll call this a test. You can use Studio as a means for them to submit their assignment. And that is, I'll show you where to do that. When you go and choose your submission type, you would choose online. And so if you choose media recordings, they automatically have the option of their camera coming on. And so their video will actually be recorded through Studio. So, or student annotations, if you want them to annotate. But again, annotations are tricky. They work best on mobile devices. Or like if you have like a Surface or something like that. And most students, it's kind of tricky for them. But if you have students who put their videos on YouTube and they have them put in YouTube unlisted, they could provide you with their website URL. So they may go in and edit their videos and do something fancy. You could have them do it that way. Or you could do a text entry. However, they can do a file upload. I try to not recommend file uploads because you don't know what they have on their computers at home. And if they upload it, it may not display the way that you want it to display in your classroom, like on your computer at school. It may be blocked, or there may be some other reason why you can't access their video. So I always tell teachers to have them recorded or provide the URL for where they actually had the recording. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment, and I'm going to go zip back over here to our handy dandy presentation. Because I think, how many minutes do we have, Kathy? 10?
We are good for another 8 minutes.
8 minutes. All right. So in the presentation, I did provide several examples. This is an awesome video. I won't play it here, but I would strongly recommend watching this video. This is a video of some students. They are reading an assignment that they had to, they're recording their responses to an assignment. And in this classroom, all of the kids are wearing earbuds, but they're all over this classroom reading their assignment. And it's really cool to kind of watch it. This was a real video. This wasn't something that's staged or anything, but it was in a classroom and the students were working kind of at their own pace. So it was kind of like a project-based learning assignment. But we did put some examples in here for how to submit what students can do in this. I think it's a little bit further up here. So you can use them for discussion posts. So you can make a video, have the students reply back by video. Things like that in your classroom. Foreign language fluency check is a big one, especially for the little ones. If they're just starting to read, you can watch their fluency. Someone said, where do you see what, Norma? The video, oh, when you open up, it should go, let's see, if you go into, there you go.
About 3 and 1/2 feet long.
When you go into present mode, it should automatically play. If it doesn't, just let me know. And I can send you like the actual URL of the video. So any questions? Can students make videos and then watch other student videos and make comments? If you do it on a discussion board, however, I'm going to give you some great advice on doing that. Make sure when you do that, there's a feature called moderation. Make sure that you click the button that says moderate, because your nice, lovely looking students may not put the comments that you want them to put or that are appropriate in any world. They will put it under the video, especially if they are middle school. They're going to put something inappropriate. So make sure that, yes, if they, kind of like if any of you have been in graduate school where you can put you can't post on someone's until you post, you can do that, like on a discussion board where they put their response to a question, but they can't respond to another one unless they've answered. You can do that in discussions. Discussions had several options for you to have students post. If you don't want them to comment, you can have them like. There's also a like feature as well. So I think that's all I have for you guys. Kathy has stuck the attendance.
So thank you guys. I appreciate you attending, and Melanie is super awesome. I enjoy talking to her, and almost about every day we talk, and she's awesome, super helpful. And I appreciate all of you guys attending. I put into the chat area, you need to do the attendance. If you did not do attendance for your last session, please, this attendance link will work, okay? Because if you don't have attendance for all the sessions, then you're not going to get a certificate. So I gave you a attendance link, and I gave you a survey from the Nevada Department of Education. And then Melanie is also going to give you a link to her survey that she needs for Instructure, which is the mother company, right? The parent company of Canvas. So make sure though the attendance, because I'm looking at attendance. So if you were at a session first session and you're going like, oops, I didn't do it for first session. You can use this same link to do that. Okay. Yeah. Camp Canvas. Thank you. I appreciate Melanie. We need to push that at the end too. I'm going to write that down for the closing session.
So I'm going to go ahead and plug it now. I'm looking for the link. I'm like,
put the link in there. And I'll copy it.
so if you guys like the sessions that you were at today, you can get CEU credits over the summer. Well, it's not over the summer. It's 1 week in June, where you can get 3 CEUs for each course that you attend. I'm like scrambling for the bit.ly. I think I found it. This is it right here. Put it in the chat. But we have 30 sections of courses. I want to say that is correct. Minus that little slash in the front. And so they're going on for 1 week. You can register now, all the way up until June 27th. We have everything from getting started with Canvas. So if you're a novice and you don't know anything and you want to know the basics, all the way up to things like group work, and you can do things like speed grader. They have rubrics. So there's a ton of sessions. You can register right through your Canvas account. So if you can take that bit.ly, or if you're logged into Canvas at school and you click on that little, there's an NDEPL button in your instance of Canvas, you can get to Camp Canvas from there as well. But these courses are free. They're 3 hours each and open for registration.
I have a question on that, Melanie. I had some feedback. I don't know personally, but some teachers yesterday told me they went in and it said that a lot of sessions were filled. Is there a possibility that there will be an extension, like an expansion?
Yes. So me and Kathy, it's tricky, Nate. So let me go ahead and, Kathy, you want to go ahead and stop the recording?
Hold on.
So this is tricky, Nate, because